Welcome to this explainer. If you've spent literally any time on social media lately, you've probably seen this massive viral debate going on. On one hand, you've got people swearing by the absolute blistering heat of a sauna, and on the other, folks just fully submerging themselves in freezing ice baths. It looks extreme. Honestly, it looks kind of intimidating. But what if I told you that to get the actual science-backed benefits of these temperatures, you don't actually need to be extreme at all? Today, we're tracking down the minimal effective dose, the exact scientifically proven amount of time you need to completely transform your health.
11 and 57. These are definitely not just random numbers. As we dig into the research today, we're going to see that these represent the exact weekly minute thresholds for cold and heat exposure that you need to fundamentally upgrade your biology. If you can hit these two numbers, you unlock a whole cascade of benefits. So let's explore exactly how this works. All right, let's get right into section 1, the minimal effective dose. Okay, so the biggest misconception out there is that you have to suffer for hours to see results. Actually, no. To understand why less is more, we need to talk about hormetic stress. This is essentially just exposing yourselves to a short, really intense stressor to trigger an adaptation. When you jump into freezing water or step into a super hot room, you're intentionally making yourself uncomfortable. But instead of breaking your body down, this brief shock actually prompts your system to increase heat shock proteins and repair your cells. It literally makes you stronger and more resilient. The absolute key here, though, is that the stress has to be short. And Dr. Susanna Søberg's groundbreaking research pinpointed exactly what short means in a clinical setting. Her data reveals that the magic weekly thresholds are just 11 minutes of cold exposure and 57 minutes of heat. And no, you don't do this all at once. The sweet spot is dividing those minutes up across 2 to 3 short sessions per week. We're talking just a couple minutes in the cold and maybe 10 to 15 minutes in the heat per session. It's actually remarkably doable. Now, Dr. Andrew Huberman brings up this fascinating biological paradox. He says the goal is not to get so cold adapted that you can sit in for the full 11 minutes in one session. You think the goal is to become totally numb, right? To just chill there without shivering. But Huberman points out that if you adapt too well and stop shivering, you actually lose the autonomic stimulus you're trying to create. The shiver, the shock, that momentary panic, that's the mechanism driving the benefits. You want to keep the stimulus short so your body never fully gets used to it. Which brings us to section 2, the science of cold. So what's literally happening inside your body when you voluntarily freeze yourself? The internal cascade is just incredible. Based on Dr. Eric Berg's analysis, the impacts are massive. When that cold hits, it instantly spikes noradrenaline, which totally clears brain fog and boosts your mood. Counterintuitively, it enhances your immunity by boosting T cells. It drastically reduces systemic inflammation, triggers cellular cleanup, which is called autophagy, lowers your stress hormone cortisol, and speeds up muscle recovery. It's basically a zero-cost biological reset button. But honestly, the most exciting part is how cold interacts with your fat cells, specifically brown adipose tissue, or brown fat. Now, this isn't your regular white fat that just stores excess calories. Brown fat is a specialized, metabolically active tissue. When your skin senses cold, your brain flips a switch, and this brown fat acts like an internal furnace. Its whole job is to generate heat to keep your organs warm, and doing that raises your resting metabolism. Just how powerful is this furnace? Well, 3,400. Research shows that just 100 grams of brown fat can burn up to 3,400 calories a day. I mean, that's more than a lot of people even eat in a day. It completely explains why deliberate cold exposure is such a massive metabolic trigger. You take a quick cold plunge and you're literally training your body to build more brown fat, permanently turning up your internal calorie-burning engine. Okay, let's shift gears entirely. Section 3, the power of heat. Just like the cold, extreme heat is an incredible cardiovascular tool. There was this massive 2015 Finnish cohort study that tracked over 2,000 sauna bathers for 20 years. They found the optimal heat window is between 187 and 212 degrees Fahrenheit for a maximum of 19 to 30 minutes a session. And that word maximum is crucial. The data showed your cardiovascular risk plummets beautifully up to about 19 minutes, but if you stay in past 30 minutes, you don't get any extra heart benefits. You're actually just exhausting your cells at that point. Again, it's all about that minimal effective dose. Now, there is one extreme exception. If you're an athlete chasing massive muscle recovery, there's a pretty brutal protocol, doing 4 30-minute sauna rounds in a single day, with short cooling breaks in between. The data shows the specific protocol yields an unbelievable 16-fold increase in human growth hormone. But let's be real, it's a huge stressor on the body, it takes hours, and experts warn it should only be done maybe once a week so you don't adapt. For everyday life, stick to the 20-minute maximums. Oh, and we do have to mention one surprising biological quirk about heat, specifically for the guys. While a sauna is amazing for your immune system, it will temporarily nuke viable sperm counts. Evolution designed the male anatomy to be outside the body for a reason. It needs to stay cooler than core temperature. Exposing that area to 200-degree heat on a daily basis definitely decreases sperm viability. There's actually an anecdotal trend right now where men are buying snowball ice pack underwear to intentionally cool things down to boost testosterone, though, to be fair, the clinical data is still pending on that one. But the main takeaway, if you're actively trying to conceive, maybe dial back the intense sauna sessions.
Moving on to Section 4, the Søberg Principle. So, if you're lucky enough to have access to both a sauna and a cold plunge, contrast therapy, bouncing between the two, is super popular right now. But to really maximize those metabolic benefits, you have to follow the Søberg Principle, which is always end your session on cold. If you're going back and forth, the cold water must be your final stop. Why? Because dropping your surface temperature at the very end forces your body to naturally heat itself back up. That effort, that natural rewarming, creates a massive, prolonged metabolic afterburn. If you end on a warm shower or in the sauna, you're literally robbing yourself of that benefit. Timing matters a lot, too. You can easily map out your routine like this. Do your cold exposure in the morning, it spikes dopamine, immediately wakes you up, and actually triggers a rebound effect that warms your internal core for the rest of the day. The sauna, on the other hand, is perfect for the evening. When you step out of a hot sauna, your body aggressively dumps heat, which ultimately cools your internal core temperature down. And, based on sleep science, a dropping core temperature is the exact signal your brain needs to kick off deep, restorative sleep. All right, Section 5, your daily temperature protocol. Honestly, the absolute best part about all this science is how accessible it is. Dr. Eric Berg admitted he was initially terrified of a hot and cold plunge pool down in the Dominican Republic. But as Dr. Søberg perfectly puts it, you don't have to swim for a half an hour in the cold water. You really don't. You don't need a $10,000 custom cedar sauna. You don't need a fancy commercial ice plunge in your garage. You already have the tools you need right inside your house. Let's look at the beginner shower protocol. It's so actionable. Step 1, just take your normal, hot, comfortable shower. Get clean, enjoy the heat. Step 2, right before you get out, turn that dial to full cold. Don't fake it with lukewarm water. Make it as cold as your pipes will physically go, and just stand there for 30 seconds. Come on, anyone can handle 30 seconds, right? Step 3, tomorrow try 40 seconds, the next day 50. By adding just 10 seconds a day, you will easily build up to 3 to 5 minutes of cold exposure, using nothing but your home bathroom. It really is that simple. So here's the bottom line. Your body evolved to thrive in dynamic, challenging environments, not just sitting perfectly still in a climate-controlled 72-degree living room. By finding that minimal effective dose, just 11 minutes of cold and 57 minutes of heat every single week, you are tapping into ancient survival mechanisms. You're burning fat, reducing inflammation, and optimizing your hormones. Your body is built to survive the extremes. The only question left is, are you ready to turn the dial?